All right, hello everybody, and welcome back once again to the Sharp Angle Show, brought to you by the Sharp Angle Syndicate. Shocking, I know. SharpAngleSyndicate.com for all of your sports betting needs. I'm just Ryan Hyatt, glad to be hanging out here. He is Smitty Bucks, the inimitable one, home of the best bet, exclusively found at SharpAngleSyndicate.com, part of the No Wagering podcast crew. And then down there in New Orleans, it is Stevie Shrimp, but he's not a shrimp, and he is the king of pickleball, which is being banned all across the country because pickleball courts are too loud. Stevie, are you too loud when you play pickleball? Do people complain about you? Are you the Monica Seles of pickleball?
We play indoors, so the noise don't travel. We play at a playground gym. They got four courts, and we play in there. But I do get a little loud. Sometimes I grunt pretty hard when I'm sending that ball at them. I give them a little rear back, and it scares them too. The older guys they don't like when they see a big young guy running towards the net making that grunt. They duck.
I could see a little Johnny Mack and Stevie Shrimp pickleball a little bit there, or a little Jimmy Connors going like this after a big play there. That's what I'm seeing with Stevie and that. That's just my opinion.
Can't be serious. We are serious. By the way, serious happy birthday to Smitty Bucks there.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Sunday, last Sunday.
Happy birthday, Smitty.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. I turned 47 and I played golf the day before. And trust me, when I got out of bed on Sunday, I felt about 57.
Hey. I always say it's not the years, it's the miles, and the mileage is getting up on me. My blue book value is not nearly what it used to be. We're going to do a lot of football tonight, some win totals, take a look at a couple of college teams, maybe some NFL. Want to give you guys a jump on the upcoming season, and win totals are still absolutely actionable right now. You can still find value, different teams, different places. I know, Smitty, there with you guys breaking down on that Notebook Wagering podcast, you took a really deep dive on the ACC. I want to start with you and some teams that jumped out that you think folks can still find value on, teams that you like, teams that you absolutely think are garbage.
Yeah, so we broke this down last week. We're going to do a show tomorrow night. We're going to break into the Big Ten a little bit, so please tune into that. We did break down ACC last week, and, I think all four of us were kind of very similar with some ideas. Number one was we really like Clemson. Number two is we really like Florida State. We kind of see those two teams being really good. And then we had some different opinions who we thought was going to win. Some of us had Florida State. I personally like Clemson. I think Clemson's going to come back in a good way. Just some other teams under the radar. I'm going to go back with Miami. I went with Miami last year, and I said this on the show, and Miami really let me down because it was not a good team last year. I'm not the highest on the head coach. Some things, and you're going to say, well, Smitty, why are you going back on them? Well, maybe I like punishing myself. I don't know. Maybe we're doing it again here, but they're bringing a new offensive coordinator in, going to try to air it out a little bit more. Do I think you have the quarterback? I think they do. Tyler Van Dyke did not have a good year last year. I even did, and I'll say this, and it was really bad bet, and I don't care, but I said it. I took a little pizza money on him to win the Heisman last year. It didn't pan out for me. So could this, again, I'm not saying put a Heisman. I don't think that at all this year, and I'm not doing that. But if you look at this team, and I love the VSiN magazine. I got the VSiN magazine and everything like that. If you look, their win total 7.5. They're favored in 7. I think there's a couple games that is going to be right there. I like this team. I think this team is a team that could get over that win total. I think this could be a good bounce back team. So that was one team I threw out in the ACC. Just some other teams, myself, Jason, and I can't remember if Q and Maddie were on this. Keep an eye on Louisville this year too. I like Braun going there as the head coach. I really like him. I liked what he did at Purdue. You look at Purdue in the Big Ten. That's a tough program to always win. I always thought he had a pretty good team there. You look at the quarterback, it's Plummer. Well, where was he at? He was at Purdue. Now he's followed him. So he's been in the system. I really like that team. There's a lot of close games in that. I think they're favored in 8 off of that. The game I put down, keep an eye on that NC State game. That's a big game, I think, on their schedule for that. That's another team to keep an eye on with that. Just one more here. I'll go really quick on teams that, other than the 2 really good ones, we all like Duke. You look at Duke last year. Elko came in first year. They were 3-9, turned around to a 9-4 team with this. Riley Leonard, the quarterback, can really go through the air, can really run the football too. I like this. Defense has to be better against the pass. Win total 6.5. They're favored in 6, but there's some spots that I think they're going to be okay. I think Duke's another team. If you want to take Duke with the win total over, I like Duke.
Well, this is a good time to remind folks that, again, you can shop for lines. That 0.5 on the win total is everything this time of year. And you may be looking at a team and you like them at the over 6.5. If that number moves a little bit, you might like them at the under if it moves up. So I think these last 2 weeks, we're going to see a lot more teams report some injuries. We're going to find out some more definitive things about teams. So if you've been following a couple of teams, had them circled, hadn't fired on them yet, wait till the end. And I'll give you 2 that I think you can get good value on in the 12 here in a little bit. Let's go down to
Can I get one more in? Because one of my good friends, I got to do it. One of my good friends I will send this and he'll watch this because he loves this show. I got to bring up the Pitt Panthers really quick. He said, I didn't talk enough about the Pitt Panthers. Well, I'm going to try to talk about 30 seconds about the Pitt Panthers. This is a team, if you really look over the last 2 years, they've done a really good job. I like the quarterback now, if he can stay healthy. The kid was a recruit from Notre Dame. He's a Pine Richland kid. Then he went to BC. I loved him at BC. He's coming into Pitt this year. Pitt, again, they've lost some people, but the offensive line's good. Keep an eye on Pitt. They're favored in 5. Their win total 7. But again, this team has done really good over the last 2 years. I think this is a sneaky play that they might hit that win total. All right, I'm done. He's going to be happy. Let's move on.
Well, next week we'll break down Dan Marino. And
Tony Dorsett, too.
Absolutely. All right, Stevie, what about you? I know you're not a big futures guy, so preseason win totals may not mean that much to you, college or
NFL. I got 2 of them that I'm looking at in college football. NFL, I'm not really, going to get into that because the NFL season is just so long and injuries. It's tough, man. You just don't know. Some teams get out the gate bad. They finish strong. It's just NFL's tough. It really is to make. But college is a shorter season. Every game is more meaningful. And if you're gonna do win totals, I think you're better off doing it in college. Just to touch on the ACC, I think the team is Clemson. I think they're gonna have a huge year. I think they're coming back strong. They made 2 huge moves. They moved away from that quarterback experiment with DJ Ungale. I knew he was never gonna pan out, but Dabo just kept beating his head against the wall trying to make this kid a quarterback, and I knew that was never going to happen. He made 2 great moves. He got rid of him, and he hired Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's little brother, to be the offensive coordinator. I think that's the best offseason coaching move in college football. I think Clemson, they've always had a good defense, and if they get an offense, they're going to be in the college playoff again. I think, that's just to touch on the ACC. As far as my 2 win totals, I have 1 over and 1 under. I've always been a big fan of Tom Herman. I know the Texas deal didn't work out for him. Texas is a tough place. I don't know why it didn't work out there, but he did a wonderful job at Houston. I never write a coach off because of 1 or 2 bad years. I've never done that. And I think he's going to Florida Atlantic, and I think he's going to turn that program around. They got a lot of returning starters. He's got a lot to work with there. I know he brought in a transfer quarterback. I forgot who, but I remember reading it. I think he's going to go. I think that win total is like 7.5. I think that's a really good spot to bet the over. And the under play is going to be on Alabama, under 10.5. I'm hearing rumors that Saban does not like his quarterback room. this quarterback, Milroe or whatever. I hear he's not that good. They're going to rely on running the ball and defense this year. That's going to win them some games, but I don't think they're going to win 11 games without a quarterback. I really don't see that happening. So that's my underplay for my win totals this year.
Yeah, Bama is so publicly traded that you look at that win total every year and you keep thinking eventually they're only going to win 10 games. They're going to have a year where they win 9 games. And when you hear a quarterback room that is undecided at a program like that, that should be a big tell that almost every year your top teams go into the season definitively knowing who their quarterback at least is going to be. Maybe he's not that great, but they know who their quarterback is going to be. That's a good one to stay away from. I cover the Big 12 on a daily basis. I'll give you 2 teams that I think, based on the projected win total, are fades. They're not necessarily, well, one of them I think has the potential to be a really bad team. The other one is going to be a good team, but I don't think they're going to live up to preseason expectations, and that's Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns. This is still a team that talent-wise isn't a 10, 11, 12-win team. They're just still not there. But because it says the University of Texas, they always get inflated. I'm also fading Steve Sarkisian here. When has he ever been that coach that just rolls out of bed and wins 10, 11, 12 games? He's not. And this program hasn't been that. They've got a good quarterback in Quinn Ewers, but I'm not a huge believer in Quinn Ewers. And there are still those people out there, guys, that think that Arch Manning is going to ride to the rescue. Stevie, this is where I can bring you back in. Arch Manning's not ready for high-level college competition coming out of it. Is it now I just blanked out. Newman. Carson, not Carson Newman, but Newman, which is basically a small private school. He's a really good athlete. Make no mistake about that. But he has not played against a level of competition that I think you're just going to say, well, if Ewers isn't getting it done, you throw Arch Manning out there. I hear he is way, way down that depth chart at 3 with no expectation to play. Another reason why at 9.5 wins on projected win total that I think this could be a 9-win team. With this being the last year for Texas in the Big 12, everybody's gunning for them. Now you can sit there and say, well, that's every year. Yeah, but it's hyper this year. Everybody wants to get a shot in on Texas before they get out the door. And I don't think that program's tough enough to handle it. I think they win 9 games, but if you can get 9.5 under, I think that's a really good play this year. And again, the depth is not 10-win, 11-win depth at Texas. The other one that I would recommend taking a look at, and it's Oklahoma State. Mike Gundy's program started falling apart last year mid-season. He had players leaving during the season. He had problems in the offseason. He hates NIL. He hates the transfer. He hates college football right now. And the players are picking up on that. I think this could be a team that struggles to win 5 games this year. And if it gets ugly early, Mike Gundy could be the second coach relieved of his duties in the Big 12 this year. I think it's going to be Neil Brown at West Virginia.
I think we lost Ryan there.
Yeah. Who loses this? Did we lose me? Don't lose me.
We lost you for a second.
2 teams.
Neil Brown kicked in because you were talking bad about Neil Brown. He tried to freeze.
He muted you. Neil Brown muted you.
It wouldn't be the first time that he's done that. He was the offensive coordinator at Texas Tech under Tommy Tuberville, and he took a lot of back then. So 2 teams in the Big 12 for different reasons that I think could be fadeable if you get the right numbers. 9.5 under Texas, 6.5 under Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State could be a grease fire. All right. I got nothing on the NFL this week other than don't watch preseason games and make any judgments on teams. Stop it. Please stop texting me. Please stop telling me that you watched 5 minutes of the Cowboys or 5 minutes of the Chiefs. Oh, this is the way they're going to be this year. Stop. Don't watch NFL preseason games. Bet on them all you want. You want to take Baltimore every game, money line, do what you want. But please don't make judgments. Friends don't let friends make judgments on NFL preseason games. Rant over.
No, I like to bet preseason. I did last year pretty well. I started really cold. I've come back a little bit in the last couple games. Hey, that Saints game was crazy. I had money line like minus 130, and that game was looking good, and then it didn't look good, and then they didn't get the 2 point, and then I was like, onside kick, at least practice it, guys. And now they're going to squib it. And then for some reason, Kansas City tried to throw a screen and it got intercepted. So that's craziness. But I think the best advice I can give with preseason is, is the depth chart with the quarterback. Look at your quarterbacks. There's some teams that were really good one. I said on our show, I said on Notebook Wagering last week, I really like the Miami Dolphins. And they moved the ball well, but then they just – because I played golf with Q on Saturday, and he was not happy how they couldn't punch it in down by the goal line because we both had bets on the money line with the Dolphins. But I like their quarterback room. Not trying to sound like a homer here, but the Steelers is another team that's a really good quarterback room. If Pickett gets snaps, then you go Trubisky, then you go Mason Rudolph, which actually looked okay last week. Then you got Tanner Morgan, the rookie out of Minnesota, that's also there trying to make the team or at least the practice squad or putting – some plays on tape for another team. That's a good team. And if you look at Steelers are really good in the preseason too. I took them money line last week. They did really well. They were blowing out Tampa Bay. Tampa scored late. I really like the Steelers this week too against Buffalo.
I heard Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season there at Pittsburgh. Have you heard that?
Just about every second of every day. And especially when you're a Steeler fan and you go on podcasts and you complain about stuff, let's just say sometimes people send me really nice stuff on Twitter.
I can only imagine. All right, so you guys are doing a Notebook Wagering show tomorrow. Is that when you're going to drop another one?
Yeah, we're going to do tomorrow night. We had some issues with just our producer and some of us tonight, so we're going to try to do one tomorrow night. So tune in. We'll try to get it out. We're going to break down the Big Ten conference tomorrow, and that's my conference with Michigan football. I love talking Michigan football. We can dive into that really quick if we have a second.
Yeah, we got a second. I'm not going anywhere. It's 105 degrees outside.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna bring up a team, and it's not Michigan. And this is a team, and I'll drop it tomorrow. I'm really gonna eye up a team right by my area, is the Maryland team. I kind of like this team. If you look at some things on this. You got a very good quarterback to his brother. I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name because I'll probably butcher it. You heard rumors that some SEC teams were trying to give him big money to leave, and he did it. 8-5 last year. The only thing, Gaddis is I think it's Gaddis and Sumlin is going to be like the co-offensive coordinators there. Gaddis has really bounced around. Was at Michigan, did really well, went down to Miami, and it didn't really work at Miami. So now he's there. But if you look at their schedule, I really like their schedule here. I think this is a team that's a sneaky play. Their favorite, I think their over is at 7, and their favorite in 9 off the VSiN magazine. If you look at their schedule, I really like it. I think this is a good play because this team is not there yet, but I think each year they're able to score. Defense sometimes is not the greatest, but I like some of their weapons coming back. I like the over with this Maryland team this year.
I haven't followed them closely enough. How has their recruiting been the last couple of years? It seemed like they went through a sideways stretch where they just weren't bringing in the talent that they needed to compete. I mean, top 22, let alone depth.
Yeah, I haven't really dove into their recruiting, Ryan. I'm not going to try to sound like an expert and kind of go around that question. I think they have enough talent to do okay. Now, the problem again with this is, this is a conference that I think it's a shame, and hopefully they can adjust this because, every year, who do we talk about? Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Well, they're all on one side. And then you add some of those other teams, and then you look at the other side, and it's always Wisconsin and Iowa, maybe Purdue. It's this to me, looking at this, it's always one side of the conference is so loaded where the other one isn't. And I'll tell you, a lot of people love that Wisconsin team. And I kind of like some of the direction, but keep an eye on Iowa this year. I think their offense is going to be a little better. And I'm not going to just try to say that because they got the old Michigan quarterback there, McNamara, but I think they'll be able to score a little bit more than maybe a JV Monday Night Football team this year.
That'll work. All right. Got any parting thoughts or shots? Stevie, what do you got down there?
Oh, nothing, man. It's just, it's been hot and I've been busy and hadn't really had a chance to really dig into this college football like I want to, but I will be in the next week or two. I'll start doing a little more studying and digging into the recruiting and returning starters and things like that. Get ready for the first couple weeks. I'm just a little behind on everything right now, but I got my Phil Steele magazine, my Mark Lawrence magazine, and I didn't even know VEASAN had one. I may have to order that one as well. So I use that kind of as a guide to handicap the first couple of weeks. Returning starters has always been a big deal, but I'm not going to weight it quite as much this year because of the NIL. The whole landscape of college football has changed with this NIL, and that's another reason why I'm kind of down on Alabama, because for so long Alabama had the upper hand with the recruiting and all. Well, now it's equal opportunity. It's who's writing the bigger checks. Alabama was writing the checks when it wasn't legal. Now it's a fair fight. So I think the playing field is going to even out now. I think Mr. Saban's headed for retirement.
Yeah, I would say about another year or two. Probably you're going to see several coaches, I think, decide on an early retirement at some power schools. All right, we appreciate everybody for jumping in. We had a lot of fun. You guys enjoy the show. Share it with your friends. Let them know we're out here at the Sharp Angle Syndicate. And right now, you can save 20% when you use promo code NBW20. NBW20 will save you 20% on all of our plans. The 3-month plan is hard to beat. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week. We're with you every day at the Sharp Angle Syndicate.